This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2014. I always lose count. I mean, this is our 7th year. I keep stopping myself saying it's going to be 2013, but it's 2014. Joining me is Paul Travers, president of Vuzix. Welcome to the program, Paul.
Neil, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well, you have, and the pleasure is ours, actually. You have all kinds of stuff on display here, and I think we're going to follow a pattern from one device to the next to the next. What do we have on display here?
So everybody rides on an airplane, they see the guy next to him with their noise-canceling headphones, and that guy, I can tell you from personal experience, is like relaxed. The jet engine's not there, it's quiet, maybe he's listening to some tunes. What this product does, it takes it to the next level. You got the noise-canceling headphones, but the front end of the noise-canceling headphones fold up into the top, so you can use them as headphones, but if you want to watch a movie, the front display visor flips down, and it gives you a HD 3D image with about a 55 to 60 degree field of view. So this is like sitting kind of almost in the front row of a theater. So it's this great big beautiful image, and in fact you should take a look because it's quite outstanding. And what we have here, this is a model. It won't be shipping until probably the fall of the year this year, 2014. Got that one right. And this is the engine, what it looks like, and it is pretty outstanding. And like I said, it supports full 3D, HDMI input, and there'll be some wireless capabilities, so you can stream from Netflix and that sort of stuff with a version of them.
So is it directly intended for cinema more so than gaming?
Well, you can plug it into your PC. It supports the HDMI 1.4 standards, so if it puts out 3D, it works with it. There'll be options for sensors, so you can look around inside. Unlike the Oculus Rift, it doesn't have that massive field of view, but quite frankly, when you're sitting in an OmniMax immersed that far in, it can get tiring. This device is really designed to be relaxing, big screen experience, and it'd be great for gaming, quite frankly.
And you mentioned sensors. Do you know, does it, well, I'm sure you would know, but does it have head tracking, any type of head tracking capabilities?
Yeah, it's going to have gyros, accelerometers, and magnetic field sensors. It'll be all in.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So now it sounds to me that it's really intended, I mean, of course you could attach it to your entertainment system, but I take it's also designed for on-the-go travel. Does it have some type of battery pack? How do you keep it going?
The batteries are in the speakers, so it's self-contained. Of course, there's a micro USB jack, so if you're going to run for 8 hours worth of video watching, you can always plug in a separate power supply for it.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And what type of formats does it accept? Does it require a specific type of imagery to work?
Well, it's HDMI, right? So if it puts out HDMI, this guy will accept it. And that's just about everything today. My iPhone, my Samsung phones, pick your poison, your Blu-ray deck, the new Xboxes, they all put out HDMI.
Okay, excellent, excellent. When you said last quarter 2014, I didn't hear clearly.
It'll be the fall of the year when we introduce it.
So just before the holidays.
Just before the holidays, and I hazard to guess it's probably going to be a little bit late to make a big impact into the holidays next year, which is too bad because it's going to be an awesome product.
And price point?
Yeah, around $599 for it. So you think about your noise-canceling headphones for $350 to $400. Yeah, I mean, $200 or $300 more, and you get this beautiful HD display screen for it too.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So this is the first step on our path, and then there's more to follow. So we'll be back in just a moment. So we're back with Paul Travers, president of Vuzix, and you have a new device on your head. Tell us about it.
Yep, these are smart glasses. And what that implies is it's like a smartphone, but it's hands-free. I don't have to hold the phone up and do things with it. So I'm looking through this little tiny display, and it's just like I held my phone out in front of me just like this, was doing this sort of stuff with it. It's really designed for the enterprise markets. There's a camera that sits right next to the display here. So as I'm looking at things, this camera can record, stream it out over the web. So if I'm a field service guy, I can share information with the guy back, the technician, and he can say, no, cut the blue wire, not the red wire, kind of stuff, right? So remote maintenance, those kinds of things. Or I'm in a warehouse, picking parts out of the warehouse. This is a tool to help me pick those parts. Doctors, recording operations and the like. On the flip side of the coin, though, it's great for all kinds of really cool stuff because it runs Android apps. You can put language translation support in it. By way of example, we're working with NTT Docomo in Japan. They have software that runs on this thing. You hold up the menu, and you're reading the menu in English, even though it's all written in kanji, katakana, etc. So it's a great tool. It's designed for the enterprise, medical, but it's also prosumer side of the business. It records HD video. It's got a gesture sensor on the side to make it record, stop, the user interface, and you can also run an interface on the phone to access it.
Now, I see that it's almost directly in front of your eye. Does it distract you from looking around? Does it impede your vision in any way?
It's a relatively small device. The pupil of my eye almost integrates around the whole thing, although it is there's no doubt. It's designed to be a look-around style display. That said, I can put it low on my vision, move it up. I can put it high on my vision. So based upon what my job is, or what I'm trying to do with it, you can find a place for it where it doesn't feel like it's in the way at all, quite frankly. The other thing is it's quite adjustable. If I can take this off, I'll give you a quick tour of it. Again, the headset piece we discussed a little bit about. Oh, sorry. We'll move it up. So the headset piece we talked about already, it's got the high-resolution camera in the front. You can also see there's an LED right next to it, so if it's recording, it tells you it's recording. So the user or the person that's being looked at knows what's going on there. This piece tilts like this, so it's quite adjustable in front of your eye. This piece also is quite adjustable. And then the other thing is the length of this piece. It's designed to go in and out of this, so it'll work with glasses, etc. You can get it adjusted appropriately for your head.
You know what this reminds me of, and I mean it as a compliment because it's a statement of the future. It's like many years ago I think it was Star Trek Generations, and you had the reporters walking in and they had the device in front recording everything happening. That was like the reporter of the future. And this technology looks very, very similar to that.
Oh, yeah, and it can record hours and hours and hours worth of video. There's microphones built into it, noise canceling. The other thing is it's got gyros, accelerometers, a GPS, so you can record, and you can also record where you are on the planet Earth as you're doing it in real time. So you might be a guy doing inspections on pipelines up in Alaska. This thing will record the entire process as you're doing it, sort of a thing. Yeah, so it's basically a wearable smartphone.
Now, there's you brought up Google Glass, so I'll talk about it a little bit. It looks to me that they're trying to position that as something everybody wears. They go around the city wearing it everywhere they look. Do you see this as a similar type of device, or do you see it more as a private use type of thing?
Yeah, we don't see everybody on the street wearing a monocular style device for a few reasons. Number one, most of the optics technology available today is no matter how you cut it, a little different looking. Not everybody likes to look like the only guy that just came off the science fiction set with his weird stuff on at a bar. And I think people have this self-consciousness also. The other piece is we all have two eyes, and naturally you like to use two eyes. This is it's a learning experience to get to use it, quite frankly, because you're only using it with one eye. We think for it to be really mass market, it's got to have the look and feel of a regular pair of glasses, so you don't feel like you're standing out. And that's the path that Vuzix is on, which would bring us to the next station, which we're going to talk about, which is our waveguide optics, which takes this head and turns it into something thinner than your glasses.
Okay, very good. Just before we go to that station, so two questions for you. First, it just looks so small that you're having this imagery come out of this little spot. What kind of resolution do you get out of the display that your eye sees?
It actually looks like it's really high resolution, because you're getting an image that's about the size of your cell phone, and so the pixel density is quite high for the size of the image that you see. So it looks really crisp when you look inside of it. The colors are bright, it's beautiful, but it's really an information snacking display. And what that means is I'm not watching great big HD movies, I'm looking at informational stuff. For instance, we're going to look at this augmented reality poster. When you look at that through these glasses, you see the sun floating above this thing. It looks like you could reach out and touch it, but it's small, snacking style stuff. You know, go right at the next street corner. Jim's calling, that kind of stuff.
Let me try it. I want to give this a go. So is it okay if I just put this on right now?
Yes,
okay. So I'm wearing the Vuzix M100, and I'm looking at it right now. So really, it is a very clear display. I mean, this little nodule in front of my eye, if I'm looking straight at it, I can see all the, pretty much all the fine detailing. It's a lot sharper than you'd think, honestly. But I'm actually going to see some augmented reality as well. So you got a little card for me to look at.
So what's happening is the camera's running right now, so you're looking digitally through the glass piece, and you can see that sitting on top of that little rocket ship right there should be the sun.
Yeah.
And if I turn it on its plane here, you can see it. There's the whole solar system spinning around it.
Yes.
and it's absolutely connected to this piece of paper like it was attached. So you're augmenting the paper with virtual solar system, and it feels like it's in full 3D, like you could touch it.
So just for our viewers, just to elaborate, so the flat piece of paper, what's happening is on this display, it's taking the imagery from the camera, adding digital content on top of that. In this case, I'm seeing like a planetary spheres on top of this sheet of paper. Very cool. So thanks, Paul. So we're on to the final leg of our Vuzix tour, I take it. Now we've got 2 lenses here. I mean, they look simple enough. I don't, but you're very excited about them. Maybe you could explain what these things are.
Sure. So for Vuzix, we think that until the personal display system looks way more conventional, like a regular pair of glasses, we think it's going to be more early adopters that are into wearable display systems. So to get there, you need optics that are thin, that can fit into something that looks like a regular pair of glasses. And to do that is really difficult. Conventional optics, they take big, bulky chunks of plastic and a big display, and they magnify it. So you end up with this box. I mean, every product is like that today for the most part, okay? So what Vuzix does is we use what's called a waveguide. Literally, it's a thin piece of glass. It has gratings, holograms effectively on the surface of it. You inject light into one side of it, it gets expanded inside this waveguide, and then it comes out in front of you, in front of your eye. So you can, in a really thin piece of material, put an image, a virtual image, in front of a person's eye. So instead of the big kind of optics you've seen in earlier products from Vuzix and almost every company out there today, these are revolutionary optics that's going to change all of that. This first system is the M2000. We built this for DARPA. And what it is there's a waveguide in the front here on this little piece that's sticking out. This is kind of unique in that it also has an electronic shutter, so you can opaque the outside world. So you can make it so you can't see through it, right on through to 50% transmission. This head is big, but it's only because the customer that wanted this wanted all these sensors and cameras and low light capability built into this. So what happens is this gets mounted on a helmet. You look inside of here, and you see a virtual image out in space. It's really cool. Full color, it's all in there. This is an earlier version of the technology. What Vuzix has done is we've moved beyond this, the second generation, and you can see it here. In fact, let's rotate this just a little bit. You can see the size of this guy right here. It's actually a pretty healthy stack still. This guy over here is the next generation optics. And we'll turn it on its side a little bit. You can see it's a window pane here. And when you turn this guy on its side, 1.5 millimeters thick. That's thinner than the glasses that you're wearing right now. The light gets injected, it goes through, and it just creates this beautiful image out in space. These are thin enough and the engines are small enough that they'll be able to fit in glasses that look just like these guys over here. So ultimately sunglasses. So the goal here is sexy, maybe Oakley branded-esque kind of thing that anybody would wear and not feel like they were standing out in the crowd. So now when you're walking down the street in New York City asking for street sign information, buying tickets to the play, language translations at the restaurant, all that stuff feels like it's native, it's happening in something you don't mind wearing, and you're comfortable with it.
Now, when I saw it, I was looking at the human body. I sampled this just a moment before, and the body was in blue. Is there color flexibility? Will this put out color images, or is it monochrome? How would you describe it?
Yeah, it's full color, in point of fact. And in the case of this waveguide, we actually take the light and we shovel it 2 different directions inside the waveguide. One set of colors go one way, and another set of colors go the other, and they get put back together. This does it a little bit differently. I can't go into the details of that, but they are designed for full color.
Now, I don't know enough about holography. I take it these are hologram-based. Is that correct?
Effectively hologram-based, yes.
And when dealing with holograms, do you still think of it in terms of resolution, or is it a completely different methodology?
No, I think you got to take that into account too. There's resolution, there's color space issues, there's a whole bunch of those exact kind of issues to take into account. The resolution of the display itself is different though than the performance of the optics engine and how high a resolution it can support. So the gratings on the surface of the glass have to be built in such a fashion to support the resolution of the display that you might have in it.
So you may,
that's techie.
Well, am I correct that you could have too many pixels that you may not have enough processing power to handle it? Is that one of the problems?
certainly that's an issue, but that's a downstream issue. Here you can have too many pixels per inch, and so when you look through the display, you just can't resolve them well enough to tell, so you're wasting the pixels. They're there, but the image will look a little fuzzy.
This looks like future technology. It looks like something that we could look forward to, but is it more present day than future? How would you describe it?
Well, this product is starting to ship today from Vuzix. So waveguides being employed in the enterprise space, industrial applications, through our partnership with 615 into the defense markets. So waveguides are being employed and being used today in those spaces. Our goal is to bring this technology, the next generation of it, out before the end of 2014. So 2014 should be a good year for the introduction of this kind of technology.
And I take it you're looking military grade, price point. What could people expect to spend on something like this?
This is expensive.
That's what I figured. But
I mean, this is like a $5,000 or $6,000 device, right? But I mean, it's an aluminum housing. It's rugged. It's designed to take a beating, etc.
Yeah, what you pay for ultimately, yes.
Yes. However, the system that these are going into are going to be consumer price point product. It'll probably be a little more expensive in 2014, but going into 2015, you'll start to see the pricing come down, volumes going up, and there'll be price point for the consumer.
Now this is really exciting stuff, because once you put it into a pair of glasses, you've got a full color imagery in front of it, it's thin, it's practical. You may not be locked down to a specific frame, I take it. I mean, maybe you could have some designer frames with technology like this?
Well, you can imagine with this thin form factor, there's a lot of companies that would want to design frames around these kinds of devices. And of course, just like eyewear today, they come in a lot of different styles. And you'll see that here too.
Excellent, excellent. So some exciting stuff down the bend. So thank you so much for joining us, Paul.
Neil, it was my pleasure. Thanks for taking the time to visit the booth.
We've been speaking with Paul Travers, president of Vuzix. Thanks again for joining us. You're watching MTBS-TV. We will, of course, be back with more from CES 2014.